From the heart of the Dirty 30, it's South Alabama's #1 podcast, Drive Time with DJ and KJ.
Good Friday morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday. As DJ would say, we have made it.
Made it to the weekend.
Made it to the weekend. Of course, maybe he's out there listening. Hopefully he has a great time on Second Sandbar this weekend.
Probably a little rough out there at the Second Sandbar today. I've seen.
It may be.
A little tropical storm out there.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I don't know if he's going to make it down there or not. But sitting in with us this morning, as you can probably tell, the Colonel himself, Mr. Hal Whitman, also the City of Bruton Citizen of the Year.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
The Colonel is classing to join up here this morning.
Quite an honor. It was quite an honor.
I'm going to tell you what. We've had a week like no other around here. We had Dr. Varner in, the Colonel, the Citizen of the Year in, and John Knott coming in just a little bit. It was like I was talking to someone yesterday. We was just talking about that. They were talking about the show, and I said, well, you know, he says, kind of like your show. When you start off talking about how it's the dysfunctional family, I said, well, listen, we don't set anybody up with high expectations. We tell you from the beginning, it's the best, worst show ever. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what you get when you start.
That's a fact. So good morning, Lori. Duke Werder, good morning to you this morning. John Blair, good morning. Johnny Sims, good morning to you. Tracy Steele, good morning. Good morning, Miss Carol. Let's see. Tracy Miller, good morning. Karen Peters, good morning. Jesse James, good morning, Jesse.
Good morning.
Kimberly Blair, good morning to you. Hot Rod, good morning. Timmy Wiggins, good morning. Happy Friday. That's right. Tisha Braddock, good morning. Stan, let's see who is it. Stan Whitehead, good morning. Fuquay, good morning to you, Fuquay. Renee Johnson, how you doing this morning, Renee? Melanie French, good morning. Good morning, Raj. Megan Ferreira, good morning to you. Mitzi Roach, good morning, classmate. Amanda O'Gwen, yes, it is Friday. Chevy Ann, good morning to you. Wendy Williamson, good morning. Leroy, good morning. Latanya Fountain, good morning to you. D-Top in the house.
Sheriff's tuned in.
Yeah, good morning, Lisa Tyndall. Action. Sheriff, I'll tell you what, if he showed up, I'll let all y'all have it. I'm outclassed as it is. I certainly be outclassed, and y'all people like that start showing up for sure. Let's see. Mr. B's, Lisa Tyndall said. That's right.
That's right.
How about that? Joshua Gibson, good morning to you. Sarge, good morning, Sarge. You missed a great top 5 yesterday, if you didn't happen to catch it. Danny Smith, good morning. Miss Wanda Green, good morning to you. Gail Kurtz, good morning, Miss Gail. Kathy Douglas, good morning, Miss Kathy. And as Amanda said, her favorite pizza place in the background. Good morning, Sherry Weaver. Good morning, Sherry. How's everything out on the hill this morning? Darlene Moulder, good morning. Ashley Morris, another pillar of the community.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing this morning, Ashley? And good morning, Colonel. How's it going?
I'm good. Real good. Glad to be in. First time I've been in since you've
moved up this way.
Moved up into the studio here.
Yeah, well, you know, the good thing about this studio is that we can actually sit in front of Mr. B's and talk.
Right. That's good there, yeah.
I want to tell you.
It's been a long time since I sat in front of Mr. B's.
I was going to say, that used to be a hot spot, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, very much so. Like I said, somebody said something about the pizza from there.
Oh, yes.
You know, what got me, he always put the tinfoil.
There she is. Good morning, Donna Massel.
Donna, good morning, Donna. But you always put that tinfoil in the bottom of the little box he put it in.
That's right.
And sooner or later, it was going to stick to that crust.
That's right.
And you was going to get about that tinfoil, but I guess that just added to the flavor.
That's what made Mr. B's pizza.
Oh yeah, you know,
it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the tobacco juice that would roll out of his mouth into that ice cream maker.
Yeah, just add a little flavor to it.
Brooke Mixon, good morning to you. I need to get up with Wayne. As a matter of fact, I got some stumps need grinding, so I need to get up. I need to get up with Wayne. As a matter of fact, so yeah. But I'll tell you what.
And Chef Adams in watching, maybe he could duplicate that recipe.
I wonder if he could.
I
wonder if he could. Let's see. So is DJ having a donut taken away this morning? Back surgery. Well, hey, glad to hear that, Timmy. We'll be praying for you on that. Perfect timing on my part to tune out. Well, that was yesterday, so you might have missed it. Sargy. Good morning, Mother. Yeah, and Chef Adam. Good morning, Chef Adam. I can tell you this. I wish somebody would get hold of that recipe that Mr. B's had. And Brooke just said it too for that chicken, because his chicken was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it was great. I'll tell you something else was great. Was did he call it the quick burger? I just called it a hamburger. But I mean,
I think that he did call it a quick burger.
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care how many mosquitoes and flies and whatever was mashed between whatever was taped to the window, and between that and the window, it doesn't matter. Whatever it was, it worked.
Yes, definitely worked.
I mean, it worked.
Yeah, what got me about Mr. B, what I always, he was quite the character.
Yeah, no.
And, you go up there and, okay, as the sign says back here, 45 cents for your hamburger. That'll be another 15 cents for your fries and another 20 cents for your drink. And we got to add in 13 cents for old Governor Wallace here for your taxes. And, he just had a way of putting things that just made you enjoy him being there even more.
But I'll tell you what, that was some good eating. And the only bad thing about Mr. B's was having to come back up Bruner Hill to get back to the house.
That's a ride right
on a bicycle.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
It's a heck of a way to go just walking.
It was worth the sacrifice.
Oh, it was.
But
there's no doubt.
Made you work for it.
No doubt about that. Coming up this morning, I got the Colonel sitting in with us this morning, superintendent of his Escambia County School System. John Knott is coming in this morning, and looking forward to having John in. There he is. DJ. Good morning to you, DJ. Hope that second sandbar stays dry enough for you this weekend, and maybe this old tropical whatever they call it.
They said its name now. It's Hannah.
I mean, it ain't made even to Cuba, though, has it?
No, this one, that's where this rain's coming from.
Oh, it is?
Yes, on this system. There's two more out there.
Okay, well, see, I tells you how much I keep up with that kind of thing.
Yeah. Morning, Ken Douglas.
Yeah, there he is. The pizza was the best. Hey, listen, if you took a poll with the best dish, or if you will, I don't know if you call them dishes for Mr. B's, but if you took a poll with what the best food was from there, I wonder if anything would beat the pizza. That pizza had a flavor. I don't know what it was.
It was very unique to Mr. B.
It was very unique. That is a fact. Kim Collinsbright. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Miss Sandy Townsend. D-Top said the grease came through the bottom of the bag from the burger. Listen,
you got to hold it on the bottom.
Yeah,
just to make it back to your car.
That's what made it the best. I mean, Matt Hodge. Good morning, Matt. He says he don't know about y'all, but Hal is one of his faves.
Well, thank you there, Mr. Hodge.
There you go, Mr. Hodge. Hope everything's well with you this morning.
Like Gail said there.
He did that.
He knew everybody by their name.
He knew everybody.
And it didn't matter if you went there at 6 o'clock in the morning. If he was there, he'd fix you something. If you called him there at midnight, he'd fix you something.
My father, the skating rink actually started right next to
that's where I learned
the left of Mr. B's.
That's where I learned to skate at.
Under the big tent.
Yep.
And that actual floor is the one that ended up downtown at the skating rink.
Right.
And so that was something. Let me just say that. I remember. I don't remember. I was too young to remember when they moved it from there, but I remember, when they opened it up down there, and everybody. I say opened it. I remember. I got vivid memories of the old skating rink when I was like young.
Yeah. And I remember even going out there before I was old enough to skate. My granddaddy would take us out there. and we go over to Mr. B's and get us an ice cream cone and pull over there and watch people skate.
There you go.
We was a little bored, but there you
go.
It's a good thing to do at night.
Good morning, Jennifer Parker. JP Snaps. She in the house this morning. Good morning, JP.
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah, them cigar ashes, they added to that flavor profile as well.
I mean,
I'm gonna tell you. And the crazy thing is, and I maybe shouldn't even say this, but I'm going to. That's people. There are people living in that place as a house now.
Yeah, turn it into an apartment.
Man. Yeah. Good morning, Will Kyles. Let's see. Miss Wanda Green says, I remember going to Dolphin Burgers grocery shopping for groceries with Mom and Dad, and then stopping and getting 5 burgers, 5 fries, and 5 Cokes for all of us. Yep. I remember a lot of us probably went to Dolphins back in the day.
Oh, yes.
I would think about it. What other place could you go buy a dishwasher? I mean, like an old hand dishwasher. Right. You know, one of them you put in a wash tub. You could take a deer to get clean.
Yeah.
A squirrel.
Whatever.
A hog.
Yeah. You can buy your horse saddle.
You can buy saddles.
Up in there.
It truly was the definition of a general store, was it not?
Oh, yes. I mean, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Of course,
there's no doubt about that.
We couldn't grocery shop there, being my connection with the grocery store.
Sure. But, but you still knew.
But there was stuff they had that.
They
had that we didn't even carry back here at the Big Bear. So
that's right. Dana loved the pizza, and Vanessa liked the pineapple shake. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know of anything that was bad that ever come from Mr. B's. Really,
I can't remember anything.
I can't either. Aaron Brown, good morning to you. Earl Crook, good morning, Earl. It was 10 cents to get the cone double dip. Worth it. Hey,
double dip.
D-Tom's right about that. You remember when you played baseball over in the East Bruton League at that time, way back then, if you hey, that's right. Leroy said he put an egg in your milkshake. That's right. Yeah. That's a fact. I forgot about that until he just said that. But that's a fact now that you say that. I wonder what that egg did. It did something.
It helped.
It helped. It did. I don't know what it did, but it did something.
Morning, Kim. Earl Crook.
Yeah, we have a bunch of people in this morning. Like I said,
Tammy Gerlach.
John's coming in at 8 a.m., so we're about 15, 20 minutes out for John Knott coming in, sitting down with us. And so, like I said, I figured I was going to class this joint up this weekend or this week. And, hey, I'm going to tell you what, like I said, if action happened to show up over here or somebody like that, I'm just going to get up and hand the microphone to y'all, and y'all can have it. I've been outclassed like you can't even imagine.
You know what, he's all combusting in the door at any moment now.
Oh, yeah, I just hope he ain't got a taser in his hand.
Hope he ain't drawn down.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Good morning, Ms. Mitchell.
Yeah, good morning, Ms. Patty. Carol said that Travis used to work at Dolphins while he was in high school.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lisa Tyndall had a friend who would pawn something, and then back then, just to get a hamburger. The pawn shop was right in front of Dolphins.
Yes, it was. I remember that. I forgot about it.
I forgot about that too.
That up, but
yeah, I remember
there
that.
There was an old pawn shop there.
That's
You're
right.
Exactly right.
That's right.
Somebody had put out a while back.
Marvin Henry. Wait a minute. DJ said, is Shotgun Red going to join Jackie at any point during the show? Asking for a friend. Listen, you know what? We're working on Shotgun Red, and when we get Shotgun Red, we're going to put a hat on the Colonel over here, and we're going to have Jackie and Jackie Bushman and Shotgun Red sitting here doing their deal.
We're going to have to do that at a show one day.
We got to.
Yeah,
we got to. I mean, I think you talk enough hunting to talk to Shotgun Red about that.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do it.
Morning, Marvin Henry. Calling anyone that's got any puppets out there that in the tune of or that might look like Shotgun Red. Hey, maybe I just call Jackie.
Yeah,
and see if he wouldn't mind lending us or sending Shotgun Red down here. How about that?
That'll work.
I bet.
Like DJ said, we can use Alan Howard.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's a fact. So, good morning.
Wade.
That is a fact. So, there's Christina in. Good morning, Book. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of great dolphin stories. I can tell you there was a lot of great Mr. B stories. You know, Mr. B made a protein shake first.
No doubt.
He was
way ahead of his time.
He was way ahead of his time, wasn't he, Tracy? Sherry Weaver said that it was called Lowell's,
Okay.
the pawn shop.
Yeah.
I'd forgot all about that.
I had to.
What year did they tear Dolphins down?
Oh gosh, I don't.
Early 80s, wasn't
It
it?
had to be sometime in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I want to say it was early 80s.
Good morning, Cassie.
Had to. There's a daughter in this
Daughter
morning.
tuning in from Georgia.
Got that antenna turned just right this morning,
Yeah,
don't
we
we?
blasting on out there.
Yeah, we're putting them putting that watts out, putting those watts out this morning. So Wanda said her dad bought a lot of guns from that pawn shop.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, D-Top, you could buy groceries, wash your clothes, pawn something, and get something to eat within 200 yards.
Yeah, and go skating.
Yeah, and where are you going to find anywhere like that except the Dirty 30?
That's it.
I mean,
Yeah.
we say it every morning, the greatest community in the world. Even though it's not here anymore, it was. Look at there. Good morning, Wade Winstead. I'm going to tell you, I'm now that both, hopefully Sarge U's still in, but again, want to thank Wade and Sarge U for their efforts that they have put out with Bruton Strong and the things that they continue. Is that?
Yeah.
Come on in. Here we go. Yes, sir. He's coming on in right on. Y'all, so give me a second. Let me get geared up here real quick. Doing great. Yourself? Y'all doing good. Let me
Morning, Joey.
All right, so let's see which one. That's you right there. So let me get this level fixed up for you, John. Let's bring that in. Go ahead and talk in it, and let's see if we got you.
Can you hear me now?
All right, maybe that's
my
not.
volume?
Maybe that's not you. Let me try this one. Try it again.
How is my volume now?
Hey, I got it.
Hold on. Let me see what we're dealing with here. Pod mic, that's right.
That's it.
That's it right there. Go ahead and talk, John.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Do it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Okay.
It's getting there. Let's see. Oh, I see why.
Okay, I can hear that myself.
Oh, yeah. We're going to fix all that, though.
All righty.
Mando Gwen says she saw a big shepherd running down the road toward Riverville, Ken. Says, hope it's not yours.
If it is mine,
They run a long way.
they've run a long, long way, let me tell you. I hope it's not, though. Let me just say that. So,
Me too.
let's see here. Go ahead and talk for me, John.
Can you hear me now, Ken?
Yeah, we getting there.
All righty.
Let's see. Let me back this gate off somewhat here.
Morning, Joey.
And let me do this. Y'all can tell we was real prepared. I'm normally real prepared, but how about now?
We'll be okay.
Yeah,
Can
I
you hear me
think-
now?
Yeah, I think you're good right there.
Okay, good.
I think that. Talk for me one more time. Yep.
Okay.
I think we are.
All I had to do is say,
I think that's all
You
it
got it.
was.
That's
Yeah,
what it was.
and I think it was, I think we worked out. That worked out pretty good right there. Let me get this set right
Okay.
there. Get that there, and that right there, and I think that should. Or talk for me.
okay. Glad to be here today.
There you go.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great.
Now we're cooking with Crisco right there. So, sitting in with us this morning, Superintendent of Escambia County Schools, John Knott. John, appreciate you coming in this morning. I guess the first things first, we ask everybody, we put the hardest question out first, okay?
Go
So
for it.
here it is. Are you an Auburn guy or an Alabama guy?
No, I'm an Alabama guy. All the
Roll
I'm-
Tide.
All right, so I'm outnumbered this morning, DJ. Yeah, normally,
Studio has changed.
Yes.
yeah, normally the thing has gone the other way. You know what I'm saying? Normally, excuse me. Normally we have more Auburn people than we do Alabama people. So this morning I'm outnumbered.
Today, you know where you stand.
You know what I thought you was going to ask him, Ken?
What's that?
What was his favorite thing from Mr. B's?
Well, that's another. Pull that mic a little closer to you, huh?
Well,
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, we was
okay.
discussing Mr. B's.
Yeah.
I can assure you, Mr. B's was the pizza.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
How about- we
There
just
go.
said
to be
There we go.
You know what's crazy? We just said that if you took a poll and asked
Yeah.
everybody what the best food from Mr. B's was, it would be the pizza.
Oh, absolutely.
Now everything was good,
Right.
But the pizza was just what was it that made that
I
pizza
think it was
so?
the cigar ashes that were going on in the air while
It had to
making
be.
those pizzas.
I mean
right.
that or or like Hal pointed out, or that little. The tin foil that would stick to the bottom of the crust.
Absolutely.
You know, so
We'd go to Mr. B's and go to the drive-in theater.
Yeah.
And you can't beat those days.
That's a fact. You know, we were just talking about that things back in those days were just so much different than they are today.
Absolutely. They sure were.
You know,
different times.
A lot of different times, but you know what? The good thing about times like we're in right now is we got good people in place, great people in place.
Yep.
But we say it every morning on this show, and I'll say it to you. We don't envy any of you guys, and ladies, women, whoever's in these positions having to make tough decisions right now, I don't envy any of you because I'm going to tell you, there's no playbook. Uncharted water.
You know, we're in an unprecedented time, having to face unprecedented obstacles and barriers, and every day we have to make some hard decisions.
That's right.
And we take those decisions seriously. You know, this is a heavy responsibility, not just for our particular school system, but for all of our school systems. I know I'm very close with all of the schools and the superintendents in all of our surrounding areas, and we are all facing the same kind of challenges that we have today. And we take it very seriously because we know what we do not only affects that particular student that we're having to try to educate, but it affects our community, it affects our parents, it affects the commerce in our area, it affects everything. And we really understand the responsibility that's on our shoulders.
And I'm gonna tell you, and speaking of that, that responsibility is big. And like I said, I certainly don't envy any one of you guys that are having to make real tough decisions like that right now, because it's a tough time. Backing up a little bit, you know, I'm just curious, and I asked Dr. Varner this the other day, and I'm still trying to work this noise gate out, so just bear with me.
Certainly.
I asked Dr. Varner this the other day. Let's back up to March. You know, when things kind of started going,
right.
You know, different, that kind of thing. Of course, I know you've had a very relaxing summer as well, I'm sure. If anybody needs a break, it's probably you guys, and I don't know that you've had one.
No, and I don't foresee one for a while either.
Yeah.
Listen, like I told Dr. V, that's why they pay y'all the big bucks.
We've heard that. We've heard that.
But let's be honest. Now, in all honesty, you know, you guys, teachers, educators, administrators, faculty members, just as I say about police and firefighters and EMS and frontline workers, none of y'all are paid what y'all are worth. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's crazy that we can't or can't seem to get, you know, people to realize just how important all of these things are to us, especially education and that kind of thing. You know, we depend on police, we depend on fire, but I think a lot more parents have a lot more respect for teachers now than they did back in March. Let me say that.
I've had quite a few calls, quite a few conversations with parents, and you know, as we've considered coming back, that's played a big part in the decision-making process, the feedback from our parents and our students that we've had. You know, you go back to March and you talk about March. Nobody, I think, saw it coming that we were going to end our school year in March.
Sure.
Mid-March, we had to end our school year. And at that time, I think, you know, most school systems, if they're being very honest, nobody was fully prepared to have to completely shut down schools and be able to take care of the needs that followed after that.
Right.
In that, every school system, I know we developed the best plan of action for our students for us to make it to the end. We analyzed where we were at that time as far as teaching, and most of the critical skills and standards that we're charged to teach were pretty well taught by that time. And the rest of the year is pretty well taken up with testing and reinforcing and reteaching and then preparing for the next school year. Those are the things that are just really concerning that we missed out on this year. And, you know, we made it to the end. We made our decisions, and we did the best we could to get our students an opportunity to continue that learning and engaging process. But our students actually have not been in school since mid-March.
Right.
And you know, you know, you're talking about why are we going back or what's leading into that.
Sure.
You know, time does not stop.
No.
For a pandemic.
No.
Or for anything else. And we have to remember that we need to bring some normalcy back to for our students. We have to be able to have them engaged, moving forward. Even though we have this huge crisis in this pandemic, the clock don't stop. And we've got to continue the march forward to prepare them for the next steps.
Absolutely.
I've talked with all kind of parents, and I appreciate the parents that are in agreement with our plan reaching out to me as much as I do the parents that have those concerns and are expressing those concerns to us. And we're taking all of those things into consideration. As we developed our plan, we tried to provide a provision where we can meet the needs of everybody. And, it's not going to be a normal year. We don't have every answer to every question. We don't have everything in place that we need to have in place, but we are confident that we're ready to be able to bring our students back and get the process started.
Well, and I guess the one of the big things that everybody seems to be particularly, worried about, if you will, is, and backing up again to March, like we were. So in March, when all things kind of changed and everything, you guys stepped up to the plate, made sure food was still, distributed and kids were still getting to eat and all of these types of things, which was fantastic, by the way.
And that program's continuing.
Sure, absolutely.
We're having, I think, about 1,800 kids that are receiving meals all the way through the month of July.
Because y'all kept going with it through the summer. Mm-hmm. And I know typically in the past, haven't you guys always had a summer at a couple of the schools, a summer feeding program or summer I don't know what you'd call it, but something like that?
That's exactly what it's called. Yeah, summer feeding program. Okay. We did. Right.
And typically how many would you have participate in that on a normal summer?
Countywide, I would say normally somewhere around 1,500.
Wow. And so, but this summer was over, you say around 1,800.
Around 1,800. We did a grant with Cornell University that enabled us to supply directly to the home, mm-hmm. where they would not have to be able to come. And I give that credit. We have a great C&P manager that put that program together for us. We had a time where people could enroll in that program, and every one of our students in our county, because of the free lunch program that we went with a couple of years ago, qualified for that applied. So everybody that applied received that benefit.
And you delivered to their house?
And we didn't deliver, but UPS actually delivered. It was actually prepackaged, pre-sealed, very consumable products that were self-sealed and able to be shipped in that manner. Okay. Right.
Well, and when you talk about that kind of thing, I talked about this with Dr. Varner. No kid is doing any learning if they're hungry. They're not doing anything. I mean, athletics, learning, behavior. I mean, any of it. And I think that's just a fantastic program that no matter top to bottom, any kid that goes to those schools can eat free.
Absolutely.
That is a fantastic program. Was that something that was tough to get into, or was it something that was offered to everyone? I mean, how did y'all come about that?
The program that we went into is a federally funded program. Currently, most of our schools are Title I schools, and that's based on the level of economic qualifications that our students have. If we have a certain number or percentage throughout our county, we can qualify to apply for that particular program. Now, there are positives to it, there are negatives to it.
Sure.
because all of those counts are tied to other fundings that we get in. Participation in that program was key for us to be able to continue it. But we felt like we needed to take that leap of faith that we would be able to continue the amount of participation that we had in that program and be able to offer that. And so when we took that leap of faith and our board backed it 100%, we felt like it was important for those families that were receiving free and reduced lunch. You know, there's no more checks and balances at that lunch counter for them. Everybody is treated the same. It doesn't matter who you are. For those families that were paying a reduced rate or paying full rate, that's quite a bit of extra money in their pockets.
Absolutely.
And we're giving an opportunity for our students to all feel the same.
Right.
Feel some equity and equal, and that's important to us.
It's not like back when we were all in school, where, you know, you had a card, you walked up, they punched it.
Correct.
That kind of thing. So it does make a difference.
It does.
I mean, it certainly does.
It does.
So as you moved on through March and of course, things being fluid and the situations being fluid, first of all, let me say this as well. I think I can speak on behalf of all the educators and faculty and everybody. I realize, as Dr. Varner pointed out, the state, and I've told Dr. Mackey this, you know, but thank you guys for you know, continuing to be able to keep paying the teachers, educators, administrators, you know, and I know a lot of that is state, you know, driven or what have you, but let's be honest, there were some school systems that did not.
There were. The state continued the funding because we were able to continue in the manner that we did. In addition to that, our local board also supported us to be able to fund. We fund quite a few local units. We fund units that are funded through different fund sources.
Right.
Those monies weren't coming in to our school system.
Right.
And so we were reaching out of our local funds to be able to continue to pay those individuals.
Sure.
Some systems furloughed a lot of individuals, support people, and we I can tell you this, we have really great staff. We've got super administrators that are working hard, committed, doing the things that they need to do. We have got great teachers, support people, anywhere from our bus drivers, our custodians, our teacher aides, our paraprofessionals. I could go our mechanics in our maintenance departments, our technology department. Everybody has stepped up to the plate in a manner that it just inspires me to come to work every day. I am really blessed to have the staff that we have.
I guarantee, and I second that. I think that we are very fortunate to live in an area that we have the type of teachers, administrators, faculty members, all the way, like you said, maintenance shop. We are very fortunate to live in an area where we have such fine people like that. And we say it every morning here, we live in the greatest community in the world. And when we say community, we don't just mean Bruton and Eastbrook. You know what I'm saying? We say the Dirty 30, we talking about Escambia County.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And same with me. We serve the entire county.
That's right.
And that's the role we have to play.
Sure. I mean, it's not just one school for you guys. I mean, you guys have a bunch of schools. I mean, when you get, so you got, Neal Elementary, middle and high. You have Flomaton Elementary, middle and high. All right,
the middle high is together.
It's together. It is right.
Right.
And then you have the
Pollard
McCall.
We have and Rachel Patterson.
Right.
We have Escambia County Middle, Escambia County High. We have Huxford. We have our Career Readiness Center.
That's right.
We have our alternative school, and we have alternate programs in a lot of those schools too. On top of that, we have a technology department, a maintenance department, bus shops.
I want to say this too, if I can. I've always been amazed, not amazed, but that's a bad word. Y'all, as far as the technology that y'all provide for the teachers to use, to educate with, it's amazing to me. I mean, I've when I went through the high school with you and Mary Clark and, a few years back, I was amazed. I mean, some of that stuff, we didn't see anything like that when we were in school.
Correct.
You know what I mean? I mean, when I left school, I think, and you guys probably can attest to this, we had typewriters. I mean, I remember my senior year, I saw in the office a big, gigantic green screen and a big box. It was an Apple computer, but it had disc. It was about that big that went in it. And that's the first time I've ever seen a computer. So, the technology you guys have is amazing. It really is. Talk a little bit about because a lot of parents, a lot of people are, ask the question a lot of, and I pose this question to Dr. Varner as well. You got the Bruton City Hall shut down. You got East Bruton City Hall shut down. You've got a lot of the the governor's mansion shut, the Capitol building. A lot of these government entities shut down, and a lot of people, the question on their mind is, okay, if all these things are shut down and these cases, the positive cases are going up. I think it was yesterday. Didn't we add 47?
Day before.
Okay.
I think yesterday actually went down.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the numbers this morning. I looked, but I didn't see them. But with all those going up, just talk a little bit about the way forward as far as how the decision process was made to go ahead and let's reopen schools. I do know you're offering a virtual option and things like that, but in the case of some of the county schools, internet is an issue in some of the rural areas. I'm not talking about at the school level. Internet's great there, but out where some of the students and things live. Sure. And we talked about that. What time is the earliest that a kid has to get on a bus in the morning? On one of the
we have some of our outlining areas as early as a little bit after 6 o'clock in the morning.
I'm gonna tell you that's right. That's
but you have to remember we have a large county.
Oh, sure.
Our county covers I think it's 979 miles of road in our county, and we cover those.
That's right.
With our transportation department, our buses. Whenever you go to outlying areas, way out the Bradley area or
Damascus,
out in Damascus, and even further out that way, and then you go up way up in some of the areas of the northern area of our county, that those are a lot of ways out
You've got a lot of area to cover.
We do.
And the reason I ask that question is, when a kid gets on a bus that early, comes into school, that kind of thing, and then, you think about it, they got to get back out there that afternoon. So I know there had, been some mention of hot spots installed in some of these buses and things such as that, and I want to get into that, but the main thing is towards the end of the normal regular school year, which would have ended, I guess, the end of May. Is that correct?
The regular school year would have ended in the end of May. May 22nd, I think, was the date that this past year.
Okay, so at that time, and of course, everything being as fluid as it is, I mean, this thing changes. What we talk about today, Monday or Tuesday, it may be something completely different just because of the way it is. But at that time, what were the discussions like then? I mean, did y'all, I asked Dr. Mackey this too, and of course, he said, you put me on the spot, and I was picking at him about it. But, what were the discussions on? Did y'all have any idea what may, lie ahead as far as I know with the feeding thing, that was fantastic, to keep that going.
Right. At that time, the information that we were getting from the State Department and the Alabama Department of Public Health and all of the other different agencies, they were pretty well flying by the seat of their pants. Sure. And that's just how.
That's the same thing Dr. Mackey said.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That's the same thing he said. Well, so
I'm glad to know he's thinking like I think.
He did. He said the same exact thing.
Right. We were, and we in hindsight, I think we did the best thing that we could have done. That we ended up making the decisions that were in the best interest of our students and our staff and our community to be
Yes.
able to get through to the end. Are things going to look different coming back? Yeah, and that was one of the reasons I was really excited about being able to come here today.
Sure.
Because I want to make sure everybody understands exactly what we have planned to do, how we have it planned, the things that we have in place to provide for the best protection we can. Can we promise? Can we provide 100% protection for every student, every person in school? Absolutely not. There's nowhere that can. This virus is here. It's around us. You go to the gas pump, handle the gas pump handle. You punch a keypad whenever you buy your groceries, or you go to Walmart or somewhere like that. You go to a car lot to buy a car and you touch a car handle, or inside. People are exposed everywhere.
Directly or indirectly.
Directly or indirectly. Right.
Yes.
What I can tell you is this, as far as and I know we're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what we do.
Sure. Hey, listen. Like I said, the great thing about this show is we're the best, worst show ever. And we tell everybody that in the title, so the expectations are very low. Okay, so
And worked hard to get it there.
I told Hal this morning, got the Citizen of the Year sitting here, and the Superintendent of Escambia County Schools. Right. Y'all have classed this joint up, I promise you. Okay, so I mean, trust me, that's fine.
I do feel honored sitting next to this guy. Now, there were a few things. Of course, you can see I brought me a little pad.
Absolutely.
I wanted to make sure I got some certain things that I wanted to.
I know everybody would love to hear
communicate today, and I wanted to make sure. And it's easy to kind of get off track a little bit. A couple of things that I want to make sure everybody knows is, number one, we have considered all of those options. I think I started out by talking about our reason for opening, and I think we have a good, valid reason. Our job in education is an essential service. It's essential that these kids are prepared for the future. I think I already said that. I'm not trying to repeat myself. Yeah. So we felt like that we could put provisions in our schools in place. We have purchased PPE equipment for our staff, for our students. We've got gloves, masks, deodorant, face shields, soap, hundreds and hundreds of gallons of hand sanitizers, and stations and pumping facilities that will be throughout the school. Disinfectant wipes. Do you know how hard it is to find disinfectant wipes?
Trust me, we do.
It's hard. Hospital grade, commercial grade cleaning supplies to be able to put in place. Cleaning equipment. A lot of these electronic, electro enhanced sprayers that when you spray a room, it takes 2 minutes, and they attach and kill that virus within
That's those
minutes.
misters.
That's those misters.
Yes.
And there are different types of those. We've got those. We've got foggers that we have that we can put on buses before our kids get on, after they get off. And we're going to be cleaning. Our custodians cannot say enough of the work that they do. We had a board meeting yesterday. We were at Neal High School, and we had our custodial staff there. I couldn't take my eyes off of them. I was amazed at the job and commitment that they have to making sure our facilities are clean and sanitized. So we have developed a very thorough, very complete list of protocols for making sure that our facilities are as clean as we can. We transfer from one room to the other. We're going to come in there and clean those rooms real quick. We are going to focus on our bathrooms, and we're going to focus on areas, our eating areas. We're going.
I don't mean to interrupt. Are there going to be greater gaps between the classes? When the bell rings and you have X amount, are there going to be a greater
Right.
time to allow for that sanitizing, or have y'all made that decision yet?
We have, and we are still working through a lot of those details and the logistics of how it's going to work.
Sure.
Every school has a different setup. Every school is a little bit different with how they operate.
There's no one size that fits all.
There is not. You know, and a lot of people will ask me, well, why don't the county mandate everybody do X, Y, or Z? Well, everybody is not the same. And we need to be able to provide that flexibility to do what's best for students.
Well, you know,
that's what we're here for.
Let me point this out. I know when we first had Dr. Mackey on back in, I want to say end of March, 1st April, whenever it was, you know, he indicated at that time that when he come back, it would be a, you know, one stop for everybody, you know, because that was the way that the governor and everybody was kind of, you know, leaning and pushing, was that, you know, one for all. And then, you know, the last time we had Dr. Mackey on, he indicated that they had decided to give more of that decision-making process to the local school systems.
Right.
And he pointed that out, that there are so many different types of school systems and so many different challenges with each different one. You can't just say one thing can fix it all. You know, one size doesn't fix it all.
No, you can't. But we have really done a thorough job, and we'll continue to change. This is fluid.
Yes.
And this is new. And, you know, we're going to be constantly monitoring what we're doing, constantly adjusting to make sure that we're making the needs. A lot of that cleaning will be done in early morning. A lot of it after those students get out, in those afternoons and evenings, that cleaning will be taking place.
Have you had to hire extra people to take on this job? I mean, it sounds like a tremendous job to have to do all this every day.
It is. We have some. We also have different different entities or different groups that do these services,
Right.
and we have a lot of them on standby in case we need some support from them. And we're going to see how this goes too. You know, as we go through, if we need to add more people, we're going to do that too.
Yeah.
So
that just sounds like a huge job, and you know,
it is a massive undertaking for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, John. If you, a lot of people, and we ran a poll on this a few weeks ago, and I know I don't mean to interrupt, but I want you to get through, but we got plenty of time. I'm curious. You know, the uniform question keeps coming up.
It does.
And so my question is this. I know that uniform policy has been in place for, I think, 20 years, maybe?
Probably, something like that.
And I'm asking out of ignorance. I don't know. Have y'all revisited that issue in the past?
In the past, we have revisited that issue, and the board has continued to support that policy. Now, since that policy was in place, we have continually tried to be flexible and add and provide some flexibility in that policy. You've seen that along the way.
Sure.
And I have been for that. I've promoted that. And I have had, I'll just be honest with you, I have had some calls and some questions about that. Have it every year about that.
Sure.
You haven't. You have a group that absolutely does not think that the uniform policy is the way to go, but you also have a large consistent group of they agree and they like that particular policy. And we could go into all the
and right.
But I'll tell you this: I'm gonna give you the same answer. And when somebody calls me, they may not like my answer when I leave. And this is what I have told them, the ones that have been contacting me this year. I've told them, and I have already mentioned it to the board, that would be a topic that we would need to come back and revisit and address. And we will do that. I will find some time that we will do that. But right now, that is not my focus.
No, I get that. I guess what in a lot of the people, when we ran that poll, it was just a yes or no. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And I would tell you 95% was no for uniforms. Now, I'm not saying we covered everybody. You know, we didn't get how many kids do you have?
We
in
have
all
about
the schools?
4,200 kids.
Yeah, so I'm sure we didn't have 4,200 parents, responded to it, what have you. But the main thing that we keep hearing is, and it's just over and over, is, listen, what if, and there's a lot of what ifs too, but if school gets started and in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it, bam, the governor, the Department of Health, whoever comes out and says, hey, we've got to shut this down, let's go to virtual.
Right.
The main thing, the thing that keeps coming up over and over again is, hey, we've went and spent this money on uniforms and that kind of thing. And as you well know, a lot of people, a lot of different hardships right now due to unemployed, being unemployed and those types of things. Is there, and I'm not trying to get off on a tangent, I'm not, I'm just asking because it's been asked, is there any consideration for like an emergency, I say emergency, or a temporary stay, if you will, on the uniform policy, just, for the start of this year, maybe the first 9 weeks or semester or something, to see how the school year may progress or not progress?
Yeah. Right now, there is not any consideration for that. I might as well just be straight up with you and honest. Like I said, I have brought the topic to the board, and the board has agreed for us to come back to the table and discuss that. But that is something that is a policy that is in place. To change that policy, there's a procedure that you have to go to, and we'll look at that. And if the board is open to doing that, then that's exactly what we'll do.
Fair answer.
But right now, I have to keep the eye on the ball.
That's right.
And the ball is making sure that we're ready for school, making sure that our teachers are protected, we have a clean environment for them to be in, providing an ongoing, making sure that we have the instructional components, the technology that we need to have in there, and all of the moving pieces that go with that.
Which are many.
Right, many.
Let me ask you this, and this isn't a hardball question. This is a question I asked the same thing to Dr. Varner. How in the world are y'all going to manage to keep kindergartners through about third or fourth grade? Number one, from being all over each other, just because that's the nature of of that, and number two, how you going to keep them to keep a mask on? I mean, that's going to be a chore.
It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, and we know that. But the mask issue comes up, and the distance learning, socially distance position comes up. One thing that as we go through this process, we have offered options for our parents. Now, I've been very vocal. I've been out there. You cannot replace face-to-face teacher interaction with the student in the learning process. There is nothing that's going to replace that. That said, we understand, recognize, and support parents that want to take advantage of an online virtual learning option, especially right now.
Sure.
And we put in our plan a provision where, they can opt out. A lot of school systems won't let you opt out of that till the end of the semester. Our plan, we said we want to give them flexibility to opt out at the end of a 9-week, end of a quarter.
I got you.
And at the same time, we'll allow people to opt into a virtual, but there's only going to be one time.
Sure.
We're not going to flip-flop back and forth throughout the year. We cannot provide any consistency of instruction if we allow that.
Right. So, I mean, that would be just chaos. Honestly.
Right. So we know right now we're looking at our numbers, and right now we're looking at countywide, we're going to have somewhere around 38% is choosing the virtual option.
Okay.
We have about 70% of our kids registered right now. So the trend looks like it's going to be the same, different at different schools. I'm talking about countywide.
Sure.
If you look at that, and that's going to reduce the number of students that are going to be in that school, in that classroom. And if there was a benefit at all, the benefit is it gives us an opportunity to be able to do more socially distancing. Mm-hmm. And it's an ongoing process because we're going to have to look at our classrooms and we may have to reorganize those. But we are expecting to have smaller classroom sizes just by the virtue of the virtual components.
Sure.
The people that are going to take advantage of the virtual school option.
Right.
We also are going to start school and do a staggered soft start.
Okay.
I think you saw
I did.
in the plan. That was something that I really felt strongly about. I felt strongly because that would provide an opportunity to allow our staff to not be inundated all at once. You've been in the school that first day or two in school, and it's just chaotic. It really is. Sure. And those teachers and students, are really overburdened with the chaos of what's going on. So we're going to bring them back in smaller groups. That Friday, I think we have, if your last name is A through G, you'll come in on that Friday. Nobody else will. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody happens to show up, we're not going to send them home.
Sure, right.
But and then on that following Monday, we'll have the last name H through M come. The other students will not come back until we bring all students back.
Right.
And then N through Z will be on the 11th, that Tuesday. And then on that Wednesday, as far as the traditional school setting, we'll bring all of our students back. That will give our teachers time to process those students as they come in the classrooms, to review the new procedures that we have in place and the expectations that are going to be there for them, and give our staff some breathing room. You've got a wife that's an educator.
Sir. Absolutely.
She can tell you, I can promise you, she could tell you that's a better plan than going in all at once in these kind of times.
Absolutely, sure.
And then our virtual students, we're offering that option. We will be doing orientations and trainings. Yesterday afternoon, we put a link on our website, and I think our Facebook pages, I saw them last night. They were already sharing that link, that have an example of what a virtual lesson for elementary and a sample for what of a virtual school typical lesson for a secondary. I can't remember, it's 8th, 9th, 10th grade or whatever it was. I think they're like 10 or 12 minute long, that will give parents a good idea of what the virtual options are going to look like. I do want to tell parents this. That this is not going to be what they had at the end of the school year. This is going to be a teaching, learning process that our students that are on virtual, just like in traditional school, have to be able to complete the work product and have to be able to master those skills. Mm-hmm. Those virtual school students are going to get a report card at the end of the 9 weeks, at the end of the semester, third 9 weeks, and at the end of the year, just like our traditional school students. That virtual program will be paced out, just like we pace our instruction in the traditional school setting. We pace, first 9 weeks we cover these standards, and there's assessments along the way and everything. At the end of that 9 weeks, they will have to complete that certain body of work for that first 9 weeks. Now, here's the good thing for those virtual students. If they can complete that body of work in 2 weeks, that's great. I mean, that's a great benefit.
Sure.
But parents need to know this is not going to be easy work. This is a rigorous curriculum that they have to master the skills that the state of Alabama requires, the standards that they require. What
platform are y'all using?
I'm glad you asked that question. Sure. The state of Alabama, which I commend Dr. Mackey and his staff, they have been great. They have been great I'm going to
tell you this. I think very highly of Dr. Mackey. He's a great guy.
I've known Dr. Mackey a good while. He was the executive director for School Superintendents Association for years and years. Super job there. Went into the State Department. I cannot imagine another superintendent leading our state other than Dr. Mackey. I
concur. I'm going to be honest with you. He's very impressive.
He is. But he'll be honest with you. He'll tell you we are continually chasing these challenges.
That's right.
Continuing to have new challenges come up to us. But he went to bat, and the governor released some money, and they purchased a online virtual platform for the state.
Okay.
After that, they decided they had some more money that they could use, and so they purchased a curriculum that teachers could put into that platform. Now, before that, we would have had to have put our own curriculum, built our own lessons into that platform.
Right.
He purchased a new one. Of course, they're like us. They have to do bids and get all that. The curriculum that they purchased is called Schools PLP. That's the company. They're a very large, very well-recognized and strong virtual curriculum provider in the nation. They are one of the top leaders. He purchased them. The next step was, how do you marry the two together to get them to work?
Right.
They have just begun that process. And of course, that process requires school systems to have our personnel pull that curriculum in and build our lessons and all that. There are problems that we're having to work through on that platform. We saw that early on and recognized that that was going to be a major problem and was going to require a lot of manpower and work for us to be able to get that in place by the time school starts. So we reevaluated, called Schools PLP, happened to know some people. I had a relationship with some people that are with that particular company, which was an advantage for us.
It's not what you know, it's who you know. That's a fact.
And we were able to talk to them, and they built they have their own online platform, their own LMS, Schools PLP platform. They already had a bridge built. They were supplying the Alabama curriculum, so they already had that built for Alabama. After talking with them, after our leadership getting together, after figuring out what we needed to do that would enable our teachers to have the best tools ready, not working on them, ready, we decided to go with the PLP platform this year. So we are still going to be developing our platform with Schoolology, with the PLP that the state's providing, but we're going to take all year long to get that system set right.
Gotcha.
PLP, we've talked with them every day. Yesterday afternoon, we had our one of our setup meetings with them. We've got training beginning next week, and where we're going to bring our staff and a lot of our leadership teachers, our lead teachers from our schools, to participate in that, and then ongoing training. That way, we will be able to have and use the same platform, whether we go for full virtual, whether we have to go for remote learning if a student has to go home, whether if we're shut down.
Sure.
It will be the same platform. It will also be the same platform that we use it for credit recovery, for any other remote type learning that we might need. Instead of having to use different programs, we were using Odysseyware for our virtual program and Odysseyware for our credit recovery and standards recovery program, and we've decided to not continue that, but to put everybody on the same page. And I think
by doing that, it allows y'all to, like you said, greater flexibility.
Right.
By having everybody on the same thing.
Absolutely. And by going with the Schools PLP platform this year, we're not going to be focusing our human resources, our teachers, our administrators, on trying to pull those lessons in and build that curriculum. It's already going to be done for us.
Right.
And I think that's going to be a great advantage to our teachers once they see how that's laid out.
Talk a little bit about, if you will, we constantly see and hear, and I'm not necessarily locally, but maybe it is. Is there a teacher shortage? Is there a substitute shortage? I mean, is that something that is affecting the county school system, if you will?
Yeah. If you know me at all, you know I have preached on this. There is a teacher shortage, and anybody says that there's not is not just telling you the truth.
Sure.
We have seen over the last few years fewer and fewer people going into the field of education. We are also seeing more people that are going the non-traditional route back into education, people that got their degree in other areas. I know I looked at an application the other day and talked with a gentleman that I think his area was in biology. He'd gotten a degree in biology. He had worked in some commercial areas and just felt like he was led to be involved with students and helping build our future. Mm-hmm. And so there are avenues for them to go a non-traditional route back into the teaching field. Some of those are our best teachers. I mean, they're great. They're dynamic. They bring something from the outside in, and we value them. But as far as our people going into education and being prepared to go in, there is a shortage.
So,
and I'm not saying we can't fill our areas.
Sure.
We are.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, the numbers of applicants are not out there.
Sure. So, in talking about that, there is a path, if you will, with getting certified. Certificates. I think there's emergency certificates, and I call it available.
There's emergency certificates. You have provisional certificates. There are a
number of ways
of doing it. Now you have to have certain qualifications. We have people coming in that have no college experience that think they can go that route. They first have to have a degree.
Sure.
Before they go.
Right.
And, there's criteria that they have to meet.
Right. But it's like I was talking with Dr. Varney. Every day of the week, people that are just really impressive just don't walk in my door, as far as, like to interview and that kind of thing. And so I imagine it's the same thing with you guys as well, and so when you run up on someone that is very impressive, at least there's a way to, make that happen.
Absolutely. There is. And, once we get our people in, talk to any of our people in our schools, we provide more professional development opportunities than any school system I know. For our size, I don't know anybody that provides the opportunities that we do professional development. And we have ongoing, continuous, all the time.
Sure. One of the things that we hear a lot about as well is, teacher instructional money, or the monies that teachers are given each year. Mm-hmm. In the past, and I asked Dr. Mackey about this, and he said they were having to work on this, and maybe they have, and that's why I'm asking this question. In the past, teachers have not been able to spend that money on things such as hand sanitizer and the like, things such as that. Has that changed at all?
Not much, no, really. The one thing that has changed that's good is they have, and to Dr. Mackey's credit, and they have, and our legislatures, they have continuously increased the amount of money that is provided to teachers for student supplies. Those student supplies are supposed to be used for instructional needs for those students that we're teaching for that year.
Sure.
Things like wipes and those things, they are not in the list of items that are supplied. Wipes, paper towels, and those type of things.
So will the school system provide those? I mean,
the school system provides that. We have great parent support in supplying. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Parents will supply those type of things. This year we knew we had parents that had hardships. We wanted to do everything that we could to take whatever burden we could off. So we have talked with all of our schools early on, and of course we had some Title I money and some other funding and everything. And so we've asked our schools to get the materials that we need, where we don't have to have people bringing in supply lists,
Sure.
the papers and the pencils and the notebooks and all the long list of supplies that we need. we are supplying those at the school level. We are providing the schools with extra monies, and we'll continue to do that to supply whatever needs that they have for like paper towels and wipes and those type of things.
Sure. Talk a little bit, if you will, another thing that seems to come up and be asked a lot, and it's not just locally. We get this from a lot of people everywhere. Mm-hmm. The decision was made to give an increase in pay, whatever you call it, to administrators, but not the teachers. Do you know, or is there a reason behind that? And I'm asking out of ignorance because I don't know, and I haven't talked to Dr. Mackey since that, so I hadn't had a chance to ask that question.
Right. Teachers have a state salary matrix that is provided by the state, that there is a funding matrix. We can increase that amount. Some districts do, some districts don't.
Sure.
Have an amount. I think we're a little bit above that amount right now, not a whole lot. And a lot of the other positions also have a matrix,
right,
that have to be met, that are mandated by the state. They're funded. When it comes to our school administrators, our principals, and our APs, there is not a matrix for them.
Okay.
And so it was
AP being assistant principal.
Assistant principal,
yes.
Right. So last year, we reevaluated our support staff salary schedules to see how we were in line with other systems around us.
Okay.
We made adjustments there.
Sure.
Other people did not get those adjustments at that time, because we were trying to make sure our people, we had some that had different different levels of need based on what the salary schedules around us were.
Right.
And we needed to get people in line and correct some of those things.
Sure.
We did that.
Right.
I think that ended up increasing our local, and that came out of our local funds to do that. That increased our local funds by $200,000 a year.
I can imagine.
It was the right thing to do. None of them get paid enough. You started that.
So I agree with that.
By saying that.
I don't think any of y'all do.
But, we have only so much money to pay, and we have to remember what our focus is. We also, 2 years ago, started examining what our administrators were being paid. This year alone, we have had to hire 5 principals in our county.
Wow.
We hired 4 in last month's session.
Is that that's non-typical, isn't it?
That's very non-typical.
Right.
I don't want to go through it again.
Sure. But what do you normally? What is the typical?
Well, it's not on. People retire. People go other places. There are a lot of reasons.
If you do one every year, one every 2 years, is that kind of typical? Yeah. Not 5.
No.
Right.
No. And it just worked out that way this year. And we had some that moved to other positions, and some that left us, and some that retired, and there were different reasons for that. That was just how it happened. But we needed to examine what administrators were making in our area around us and throughout, because we have to compete. If you want to get if you want to get somebody that's got the best qualifications, that's proven, then you've got to be able to compete with that salary. So we looked at where we were at. I compiled a list of every principal's salary in the state, and that was from 2019 salary, and we looked at that. We were pretty far down on the salary matrix, I can tell you that. And after looking at that, we went back to the board, and I said, board, here's where we're at. If we're going to be able to recruit and retain high-quality people that are going to be able to have the skills and the proven ability to do the things that we're asking them to do, and I'm telling you, they're working 16, 18-hour days now.
No doubt.
Then, our compensation package has to be able to be in line. Frankly, I asked for a 5% increase, and that didn't even put us where we needed to be, but it put us in a better position to be able to in line with what our surrounding areas were.
Sure.
And the board ultimately decided to do a 5% increase. I mean, a 3% increase. I apologize. And that still has our administrators lower than a lot of our
peers. A lot of the peer group. Yeah.
That's right. And you know, if which Dr. Varner and I are friends, and we do compete. We're competitive. I want to beat him. He wants to beat me.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, we're respectful and we're professionals. If you look at Bruton City's administrative salary schedules versus Escambia County's administrative salary schedules, there's still a pretty large difference.
Right.
You know.
Well, and then speaking of that, another question we get asked, I know Dr. Varner mentioned it the other day, Bruton City offers tuition reimbursement for getting, I'm going to say, master's degree or, continuing on with that. Is that tougher to do in the county school system because of just the pure size of it and the money's not available for that? Or
that's correct. We've looked at that, and I would like to revisit that. I know I have been a vocal proponent, and I'm going to continue to be to our legislatures. I think that, we talked about a teacher shortage. I'm not so sure that everybody understands the severity of that problem, but
I think it's severe. I agree with you.
I would like to see a program put out by the state that would offer maybe the last 2 years of scholarships paid for.
Sure.
That would entice and encourage people to go into the educational field. People are looking. What am I putting in to get this degree versus what am I going to get out of it salary-wise? And whenever you're looking at being able to go into a job, starting teacher salaries a little over $40,000 a year now, great benefits,
great
people to work with, and there are some good things, but that same master's, that same bachelor's degree in an area of mathematics or engineering, is going to net you a starting salary of $70,000 plus.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons. I think that if we could go and have some kind, and I think it needs to come at the state level.
Right.
Are your local entities, most local entities are not able to be able to fund those kind of programs anymore. We just can't sustain that kind of.
It's just a money issue.
A money issue.
Yeah.
But if we could put something in where there would be some repayment of loan that way, or some grant, if kind of like the, there are some programs out there that repay student loans.
Yes.
But we need something out there a little bit better and a little more specific to our area. So.
And I say last but not least, and I know we could sit here for 2 more hours.
Sure.
But talk a little bit about, and I saw Neal High School do this the other day, and I thought it was, in my opinion, I thought it was the right thing to do. Talk a little bit about letting parents know if somebody tests.
I knew this question was going to come up.
Well, and I asked Dr. Varner the same, and I'll tell you,
I've seen several people ask it on.
Yeah, I thought the fact that Neal put that out on Facebook, I thought that was tremendous. And the reason I did, and I still think it is because, I realize there's HIPAA laws, I realize the privacy and all these kinds of things, and so you don't necessarily have to call names, but we have to be responsible enough, I would think, to let our parents know, teachers know, hey, you've been exposed.
Here's what I have said from the start, and we have we put out this overview of a plan.
That's right.
But we also have a large scaled operational plan that's got detailed items in there that we knew if we put that out there that it'd be confusing, and we knew we wanted to try to answer the questions that our parents were most concerned about. One thing we want to do is to be transparent, and it's a juggling act because you have to follow the guidelines of the HIPAA laws, which are very firm, and there is no give on that. And at the same,
we understand.
And at the same time, I feel like, and our schools feel like, that we owe transparency to our staff and to our kids.
Absolutely.
So, what we're going to do, what I have directed our schools to do, is when we have a case that comes out, it has to be confirmed by the parent or by the healthcare authority. Okay? Then we will make a statement similar to what you saw at Neil. I thought that was a great, well-written statement.
I did
it
too.
Said exactly what we wanted it to say.
Yes.
We will. We cannot in any way, and I know you know this, you've already probably had experience with HIPAA.
A lot.
We cannot communicate any information that would lead to the identity of either the staff member or the student or whatever. And we know that little Johnny's going to go home or little Susie's going to go home, and they're going to pretty well know by hearing, and maybe even before we can announce it.
Sure.
The one thing I want everybody to know, until we get that confirmation from that parent or that confirmation from that healthcare authority, we can't make that announcement.
So you're not hiding it.
No,
You just got to be legal with it.
We have to be legal with it. We cannot make that announcement until we have that. I will tell you this. Anybody knows me knows that I'm not a Facebook king.
Sure. Me neither.
I do a good job just getting there. But, we have people that will get on there for whatever their reason is and say they had been tested positive. We have people adults that will say they've tested positive. And it may be because they think they're positive or whatever. But until we get that feedback from that parent or whatever, and we're going to ask parents that we are going to want that feedback. If we have a student that comes in that school, we have very finite guidelines on how we're going to handle if we have a student that comes to school that has those symptoms. Our nurses are well prepared to be able to take care of that. We're creating isolation areas to be able to keep those students there until the parents can come and pick them up, and then cleaning procedures and disinfecting, sanitation type things that's going to go on afterwards. Kids are going to get COVID. Most of them, from what physicians and the health department are telling us, are going to be asymptomatic. Mm-hmm. That's one of the biggest problems with this particular virus is
you'd be walking around with it, not knowing.
That's right. And they're telling us the majority of your students are going to be asymptomatic.
Sure.
And so, we probably, everybody has been at some point or another in direct contact with somebody that has.
Absolutely.
The question also comes up, well, we get a case positive, we're going to shut the school down. Well, the answer is most likely no. If it's just a case positive, we're going to do like we always do. We've been handling flu and remember whenever the N1H1 first came out and all this, we're going to go in and we're going to clean and we're going to disinfect and we're going to bring people in to do what we have to do to prepare that, and then we're going to move on. If we get large numbers, then we're going to look at that. We're going to examine that, talk with our school officials. I will include our 7-member board on those decisions. There may be a time that we need to shut a wing down or we need to send a whole school home.
Sure.
But those decisions will be made as
they come.
They come and as we need. We don't want to have a canned response to a individual or a particular case.
Because it's too difficult to have. Yeah.
I do want to tell parents.
Yeah, I was going to say
they are the first line of defense. If your child is sick and have a fever, do not send them to school. Period. If they are having COVID-like symptoms, and I can repeat those symptoms 100 times.
Oh, me too.
Everybody knows them. If they've got that fever 100.4 or above, go contact your physician, contact your healthcare provider, get them checked out. Now, If they're just
stay
sneezing
home.
and that's right, stay home.
home.
Their absences are going to be excused. There is a provision. I'm sure Dr. Varner talked to you about the provision of the absences and the excuse.
That's right.
This is not going to be a typical year. And it may need that they need to go home, and we'll provide either ongoing remote distance learning through technology, or like in the old days, we'll send paper and pencil home with
Packets.
you packets to be able to do, or we may have those that don't have internet connectivity. We're working on things where we can send the Chromebooks in a zip drive with instructional material on it. So we're going to be working on, there's no one size fits all here.
Right.
Everybody has a different situation. I'll tell you this, our feedback results on asking about how many had internet connectivity at their home, we had like 72% across the county that said they had internet connectivity at home.
I saw a thing where,
I find that hard
and
to
it
believe.
was on Facebook, so I know it was true, but they was
Yeah.
talking about there was going to be hotspots provided for people through the state. Have you heard anything on that? Or
Okay, we have got a lot of extra material like hotspots and things like that ordered right now that we may use if we have to send certain students home for remote learning. If they are virtual students, it is going to be their responsibility totally to supply
Internet,
a reliable internet service.
Sure.
And if that's the route they go, that's the responsibility that's going to lie on the parents.
Right.
If we have to send them home remotely, then we're working on that to be able to figure that out. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that because we just received the information that there's funding for us, and we are going to buy hotspots and put on these buses, and we're going to be able to maybe during the days put our buses in different areas that can provide internet connectivity. So we may partner with some churches or some stores or something in remote areas that have parking lot areas.
Sure.
Where we can take a bus and put a bus and secure the bus.
Right.
And people would be able to come there to have internet connectivity.
Right.
And do that. I would not, and I do not suggest that parents make their decision on virtual school based on that. We do not have that in at this time, but that is something that is coming. It is in the works. We hit our school system between the CARES Act funding. We just got the information on the GEARS funding, which is part of the CARES Act money, and a new batch of funds that we received some information on yesterday. We're going to be able to have an influx of about $2.5 million in our system to be able to spend on healthcare materials, on distance learning, on providing these kind of devices and support for parents to have internet connectivity accessibility.
Sure.
And those type of things. And the remote learning, and also maybe for some after school and some tutoring type things, because we know we're going to have some gaps that we have to fill.
Well, I want to say this, John, again, certainly don't envy any of you guys having to make these decisions. I want to thank you again for coming in this morning. And sitting down and hey, there was no script. You didn't know what we were going to ask, and I appreciate you doing that. Closing it out, what would you like to say, or what would you want the main thing for people, parents, everyone to know about starting school this year?
I'd like for everybody to know that we have excellent schools, we have excellent administrators, we have a super staff, our teachers, our support personnel, and all the people that are behind the scenes are working to provide the best environment, the safest environment and conditions for your children. Your children need some normalcy. Whether you choose the route to go the traditional school route or the virtual school route, that's your decision. But we need to have our kids engaged. We need to have them moving forward and not standing still. And I personally don't believe there's anything such thing as standing still. I think if we're standing still, we're moving backwards, because the world is going to continue to move forward. Support our schools. Support our teachers in whatever mode that you choose to go. If you go the virtual route, be committed that you're going to have to supply support. It is not a teacher sitting in front of a computer screen one-on-one teaching your student. It is a virtual program that supplies a good, rigorous content with all kind of links and PowerPoints and YouTube videos and all kind of extra support. And we'll have our teachers providing support and helping to monitor that. But you will have to have structure and organization and making sure